So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that word communion. It comes from community. How many people here are from what you call a small community? I grew up in one of those communities where you walk down the street and you know everybody, and everybody knows who you are, and you don't give a second thought to helping your neighbor because you know them. You've grown up with them, and you don't give it a second thought. Listen to the words you hear during communion from Luke 22, verses 19 to 20. Then Jesus took bread and spoke a prayer of thanksgiving. He broke the bread and gave it to his disciples and said, "This is my body, which is given up for you. Do this to remember me." When supper was over, he did the same with the cup. He said, "This cup that is poured out for you is the new promise made with my blood." How big is our community? Probably a lot bigger than we think. Even our community here at Grace Church is bigger than we think. And we sometimes have a tendency to kind of limit ourselves. And we need to get outside that comfort zone. As an overall community, I think we've become so involved with gathering up things. We gather up houses and cars and all our toys that we have, our possessions. And what good are all these things if we haven't earned them for His glory? If we haven't taken the time to live our lives for His glory? Our life as a whole should be kept simple, with His work in mind, and He will reward us accordingly. But we have choices to make. We have difficult choices, life-changing choices to make, and they are ahead of us here at Grace Church. Will we choose the way that glorifies Him, even if it means we have to go it alone sometimes? When I was writing this sermon, I got kind of stuck for a while. And I'll be the first one to admit I'm a sinner just like anybody else. And I've made some mistakes that still scare me today. But I came across a person this past week when I got stuck writing this sermon that I don't particularly care for. I just have a hard time talking to this person. And this person came right up to me and said, "I'm an atheist. I don't believe what you believe." I said, "So? What do you want me to do about it?" I kind of got snotty with it. But then I thought about it. Can the good exist without the bad? Do we need that to kind of keep us in check? Because we always have those choices to make every day. Even that person has a choice, and they have that right. They're given that right to make a choice. Even if they are born in the image of God, they still have the right to choose to be an atheist. Somebody came up to me a long time ago when I wasn't particularly the person that I knew God would be proud of, and said, "Angela, you need to make a change." And they were right, I did, because I was a very angry young lady. And it took time to make that change. At first, I didn't want to do it. Change is hard for people. We don't want to do it. It's like, no, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of work. And it's a lot easier to just go sit on the couch, watch television, eat chocolate. And sometimes I wonder, do I trust the choices I'm making now? Is this the right path for me? I hope so, because I'm going to continue to go down it. And I hope you'll go down this path with me. Every day we have a choice to wake up and ask that our words and our actions serve our community here at Grace and beyond our doors, and serve Him and glorify His name. I'm not saying I won't ever do anything wrong again. I'm as human as the next person, but I have the choice. We spent 2013 here at Grace asking ourselves, what are our talents? And some of us got up here in front of the rest of the congregation and showed them. Well, these are our talents. But now's the time to act on those talents. This is the time in 2014 that we have a choice. And we've got 3 events coming up, some very important choices to make. One of them, Dell has been talking to you about for a long time. It's Roll Up. Every year we have the choice to go out there and do the best we possibly can, because Rolog gives us the opportunity to continue to serve Him here at Grace Church. We have Hands for Serving coming up, an event sponsored by the United Methodist Church as a whole. But it will serve the entire Fargo-Moorhead community all the way out to Castleton and Arthur. And that gives us that opportunity to reach out and help others. And then what I find to be a very important choice coming up is the Healthy Church Initiative. Because if we do it right, if we put our whole hearts and our faith into this idea, we can serve Him everywhere we go, because every one of us has something to give that will serve the Lord. Every one of us, even if we don't think so. He will find a way. As God's children, the opportunity is available to us to extend our hands in service to one another. We have the opportunity coming up to help others. At Rolog, we have the opportunity to serve people who are hungry, might need a drink of water. And yet that turns around and serves Him here back at Grace. Hands for Serving, we have the opportunity to reach out in our community and help others who need us, who might not be as fortunate. And we always have the opportunity to share His love wherever we go. We have the opportunity to lift another person's spirit toward God so that they can feel His power and His light work within their lives. And in return, it will work within ours. I ask you, members, visitors, be prayerful and make a choice every day. We are the bread and the wine. We are the extension of that communion that we take here once a month. But we have to go out and make the choice to be the extension. The extension of God's love that will make our community strong once again. Amen. We come to a time of sharing joys and concerns.